Hello, good Monday evening. It is June 5th, 2023, and yeah, the markets are they've been frothy here. So the let's just dive right into it. The E-minis here, um, they've been going sideways, and then they finally started coming up here in the last I don't know week or so, and now we're above the Bollinger Bands, which is what this pink line is here, and we're also getting up here close to the 52-week highs. So it's bound to take a pause at some point here, unless the weekly squeeze takes over and we just get a crazy move to the upside, which I guess anything's possible. So, anyways, that's what that is. The markets today, like the Dow was down 200 points, while the S&P was down 8 points, and the Russell was down. Uh, at one point, I saw 1.9%. It ended up minus 1.32%. So, um, what did the Nasdaq do? The Nasdaq was down 11 points, so hardly anything. The Nasdaq's still holding everything up, but it's got to take a pause. And the reason I say that is because of this chart. As soon as it pops up here, we are just up here in the stratosphere and need to pull back really to the mean at some point here. And when it does it, it's probably going to do it with some. Uh, it's going to be mean about it. So, no pun intended there. Anyways, um, and then the Russell was the one that had the big down day. However, that actually was required because we had such a big candle on Friday that we needed to pull back, and we didn't pull back more than halfway. So this is still poised for potentially going up. Um, there's no guarantees, obviously, to any of that, but the fact that it only pulled back a third of the way into the candle or so and didn't pass the midpoint. I mean, if it would have passed the midpoint, I'd say we're probably going to seek the bottoms again. But I think this is just exactly the kind of noise that you need to pull people back underwater, get them all frustrated before this thing can go higher. So that's interesting. So what I think is going to happen is the S&P and the Nasdaq have been going higher, and they're both at they're close to their 52-week highs, and the Russell and the Dow are kind of the opposite. They're not close to their 52-week lows, but they've been lagging, and they're coming off the bottom, and they need to get up here into this zone. In the case of the Russell, it's 1927 or 1930, and in case of the Dow, it looks a lot like that. So we're coming off of, you know, actually the Dow has moved better than. I mean, it had a big already impulse wave up and a pullback, and what we need is a third wave, and that third wave could be like really something if it gets to take off here. So, and we do have momentum's positive in the True Momo chart on both time frames, and I've been working on this my version of the RMO oscillator. Um, and I've got some stuff that I worked on over the weekend that I'm going to share here one of these days. I just need to get, these arrows, really what I'm trying to do is find a great all around system and the best arrows to put together for good trading signals. I mean, it's not just going to be arrows, it's also going to be overbought, oversold, and short term and long term type trading. So, all right. So, anyways, the RMO oscillator here actually there's a squeeze going on, so there's oh wow, I just noticed we actually do have a down arrow going on into tomorrow for the Dow here, but that's into tomorrow, so that candle really, that won't be finished till tomorrow after 4 o'clock, so 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So yeah, there's nothing really to say about that. And I'm also going to get that red arrow to pop up here. If this is oversold, I want the red arrow to show up at the center line there. So I need to get a couple of things rebuilt and built better there. Anyways, moving on to oil, where I hear there's news with OPEC and they're cutting back on production because they don't like the prices being in the toilet. And you can even see we had a big up move today, but then it got dragged all the way back under again. And yeah, really still nothing to say about oil. I mean, it looked like it was a head and shoulders pattern. It's broken now, so now we're just in the sideways area. And that's probably enough to talk about. Let's go on to, I guess, bonds if it'll cooperate here real quick. Bonds, still bearish. There's a little bit of hope right now on the RMO oscillator, but like I say, I'm not quite ready for prime time on that one yet. And still bearish on the weekly. All right. So moving on to the bullish percent indexes at stockcharts.com. We'll buzz through. The Dow is not unchanged. The NYA is up 1.52% today. Remembering that the markets were generally flat to down. The transports were flat today. The NASDAQ is up actually 0.71%, which tacked on a new X. So that 6 right there is because it's June, beginning of June, and we got a new X today. The SPX up 3.67%. So interesting. The OEX, the S&P 100, unchanged, and then we want to look at the NDX. The NDX I'm expecting to roll over here, although it's up 3.28%, so that is really interesting. And last but not least, our automatic trading systems. Some of them are doing great, and some of them are. We took a shot today, so that's the action today. And the Dow, it still looks fine on the 6-month chart. Looks even better on a 1-year chart. This is the recent move on the Russell. Still looks fine on the 6-month chart and still better on the weekly or on the yearly chart. This is the one that's doing great, and it did have a little minor pullback. It's the NQ, and we've got actually, I think, 3 or 4 new equity dots up there, and a little bit of a pullback situation going on. So yeah, really nothing to get too worked up about. So that's it, and hope it helps you guys. And if you got questions, drop us a line on the website. Take care, good trading, and have a great night.